In the meantime, we're going to begin the Tuesday, February 24th, 2015 board meeting of Community Board 9. There are several documents up here. I'm sure that everybody's had a chance to be able to get some. And there's some up on the stage too, because we do have a lot of information there tonight for everybody to be able to take home. We're going to begin the public session, the public hearing on fiscal 2016 capital expense budget requests contained in the mayor's preliminary budget. Anybody would like to testify? Let's begin with the expense budget priorities. And we'll take any testimony. Anybody wants to make any comments about any of the budget items? Yeah. Okay, is there anybody who wants to testify about the expense budget requests? Public session. It's public session. Everybody can testify. Beverly, did you want to tell you?
Anybody who speaks has to speak into the mic. Otherwise, it won't
Right.
be on the board.
Okay, right. You have to speak into the mic, otherwise you will not be on the recorder. So please come up to the front.
As we're going down the expense report,
Okay, everybody, let's settle down. We have somebody speaking, please.
on number 7, it says ACS encourages the community board to contact the agency for a listing of current child care facilities and or child care providers in the district. Who is responsible for that part? Which committee on the community board does that? And
You're on page number 17, correct?
yes, I'm on page 17, item 17.
Item,
Item 7, sorry.
Item 7.
Item 7. And then item 8, it says approval of request. We're talking about additional Head Start programs. And it says approval of this request depends on sufficient federal state funds. Are we talking about,
we're on page 17, expense budget requests. We're on page 17. She's talking about item number 7. Okay, Beverly, would you repeat the question again? Because I don't think everybody kind
so
of got that.
the first question, page 17, item 7.
Beverly.
It's saying that ACS encourages the community board to contact the agency for a listing of current child care facilities. Because the community board said additional daycare slots, vouchers to CB9. And they're saying that we should contact the agency. Who does that? Is there a committee on Community Board 9 that does that? Who does that?
Before I answer your question, Beverly, I just want to just give a little feedback on what we're doing here with the budget tonight. This is the budget that, the budget request, that Community Board 9 submitted to the city as needs for this district. The budget process starts in June, ends in the following June when hopefully a budget is adopted for the city and we go into the new fiscal year. Now, tonight's hearing is on the responses. What we need from people in the audience and board members is do you agree with these responses? Because we have to send and tell all the folks that gave responses on these requests how we feel about their response. If they gave a good response, we can say, well, thank you so much. We appreciate that. If they say something like the one you're talking about, Beverly, that maybe you don't agree with it, then, those are the kinds of statements we need tonight to hear from the community. Do you agree with the responses? These are the responses from the agencies contained in the mayor's preliminary budget.
Anybody else have any comments related to the expense budget? Tim? Please state your name and
Sure. Tim Thomas, I'm a board member, CB9. Well, there's two things. One is unbelievable they gave the board more money. Pearl, can you tell me what the increase was over last year?
The budget was 199,000. That was all community boards' budgets of that. And then last budget season with the city and the city council, we community boards throughout the city, all 59, really did, district managers and chair people really literally begged the city council and our mayor not to cut community board's minuscule budget. And the council and the Office of Management and Budget came up with what they feel is a reasonable increase to the board's budget. And we're hopefully in 2016, that's the increase. And then hopefully in 2017, there might be an additional. We don't know that for sure. But for now, in all the years that I've been here, community boards have not gotten an increase. Cost of living went up, everything went up, but community boards never got an increase to keep up.
Thanks, Pearl. It's good news. The other thing I wanted to say is a lot of these answers are, we'll try to accommodate within agency resources. That seems sort of like punting it down the road. It basically means they'll try to do what we ask them to do, but they're not actually going to allocate any money to do it. I would just ask that all of the committees, each of these items, there's a committee responsible for it, like Department of Sanitation to be Environmental Protection, Department of Parks and Recreation, obviously with that one, Fire Department, Public Safety. I would ask all of those committees to really keep their eye on these things, and if they say they're going to try to accommodate, we need to hold them to that. In other words, follow through. We want all of these agencies to say, hey, you said you were going to try to accommodate us, please do. So that's the work of committees, and also putting these things into the budget in the first place is the work of committees. And as long as I've been on the board, a lot of this has fallen to Pearl Miles, and I stand accused. I haven't done enough to make sure that these items reflect what the community really wants. But I really want to encourage everybody to think of this as this is where we get to say to the city, spend money wisely and do it in these ways. So that's what I have to say.
thank you, Tim. Anybody else want to testify? One second.
You talk about committees, and yet, you don't have committees. that
Okay,
meet.
hold up a second. You didn't
right?
identify yourself, please.
My
'cause we're
name is
taping.
Alicia Boyd. You talk about committees, but they don't meet. So how are we supposed to sit there and control a budget when our committees don't meet? We handed you out a packet. On the back of the packet, it talks about all of the committees that have not met within the last year. There are 8 committees that have not met, okay? So how are we supposed to control a budget if our community does not meet, our committees don't meet? Also, talking about committees, do you know that there's not one appointed non-member on any committees? They don't appoint residents they don't appoint residents that are not community board members on committees. Why not? Because residents have a voting right on committees that they refuse to recognize. If you're not appointed on a committee, then you can't vote and you can't speak at the committee. So it's a way of disempowering us. Okay, it's a way of disempowering us. So here they have talking about money allocating to committees, and yet committees don't meet. They're supposed to meet 5 times a year.
All
My
right.
question is, how is this board going to move forward with monies that are allocated to it and be responsible and yet not demand that committees meet on a regular basis, notify the community of when those meetings take place, and allow the residents of this community to participate in those committees?
Thank you, Ms. Boyd. We want comments
applied 3
specifically
weeks ago,
related to the
too.
budget items. This is not open commentary.
I applied for a committee 3 weeks ago. That's right. Did you apply for a committee? That's right. We were denied access.
Hi.
Which item are you referring to?
I don't want to disrespect. Y'all want to come up here, babe? No, come on up here and say what you got to say. You know, yeah, come on. Say what you
Excuse
gotta
me,
say.
do you have
Okay,
something
I'm
specific
sorry.
to talk about?
Yeah, okay, my name is Pat Jackson, okay? And what I want to know is, this community board, I want to know, are y'all responsible for the gentrification that's going on in Crown Heights?
Could you show me where that is in the expense budget, please?
Y'all do got some swag. Don't y'all got some
Can
power
you show me
about
where
that?
that is in the expense budget? We're talking about the expense budget items. We need to stick to the topic. We're already behind
Okay, the
schedule.
expense budget. How about the expense of people working hard and ain't got the damn money to pay what these people are raising their rents? How
And
about that
how does that
expense?
relate to the expense budget?
Hard-working people with kids, okay, that been in this neighborhood for 100 years being pushed out. Are y'all kind of responsible? No, not kind of. Are y'all responsible for the mess that's going on in Crown Heights? Hello? Yeah, okay. That's the subject, baby. Us being pushed out. That's my damn subject, okay?
Okay, don't engage.
Okay, so I would like to request there be, hello, is this on?
Okay,
I would like there to be a change in the priority for the subway stations. I feel like President Street and Winthrop should be a priority to the precinct, if they could switch places, because the train stations affect more people.
okay. First, state your name. Remember, we're
My
doing
name
the
is
recording.
Kenya Solis. I'm a
Okay,
board member.
Now, which items you want to move up? Which items you want
So,
to move down on expense only
I
right
think
now?
it's 27 for President Street, and for Winthrop, it's 30-something for Winthrop. Well, the 2 train stations that are on the
Oh.
report that started on page 1.
Okay, unfortunately, Kenya, we're not doing priorities. That's already been done. We're just
Okay,
looking for in
see,
terms
that was
of
my email,
responses.
and
In terms of responses.
I never got a response. That's why else I wouldn't have got up here. But I had
All right.
sent an email asking about if there was anything that could be done at this point as far as changing priority, and nobody
Sorry.
responded to me.
In terms of priorities, no, it's not.
Good evening. I'm Diana Richardson, Community Board 9 member. I want 2 letters of explanation for 2 requests that we put in on the expense budget. Item number 22, where we requested to increase the funding for homeless youth. This is page 21. DYCD says they has increased the funding in this service area. We want to know who that money went to. And what services, so that we can send a letter out to the community, so people know where to go get help. And then item number 12, we asked for increase of funding for out-of-school time programs. They said that they increased the funding for this as well. To who, to who and where, so that we can, send a letter, not 1 to the board members and also 2 to the community at large.
Hi, my name is Sue Wen Cheong. I'm a community resident. I would like to address priority number 2 in the expense budget priorities, and that is to hire additional staff to address the growing number of requests for rezoning for the Department of City Planning, Brooklyn. I would like to say that I strongly disagree with this being a priority because it is very questionable whether the priorities of Brooklyn City Planning reflect the priorities of the community. They have told us that they want to upzone our avenues for 10 to 12 stories when community requests have been to limit building heights to the contextual height limits of 5 to 6 stories. They want additional density, and they have made it clear that the priority of the administration is to create quote-unquote mixed income communities. That means in a lower income community, they want to introduce higher incomes. In a wealthy community, they will give out lottery tickets for some lucky low-income people. Are these our priorities? Have we had a chance to discuss them? I would therefore request that instead of hiring additional staff for Brooklyn City Planning, that we hire a community planner who will work with us and who will reflect our priorities. Thank you.
Thank you, Suki. Anybody else wants to testify about any expense budget items? Okay, we're going to close. Oh, sure, Simone. Please state your name.
Good evening, Simone Bennett. My question is around priority number 6. Well, it's in the capital budget, I'm sorry. Is now not the time for that?
But it's no expense budget. Okay, if that's all for the expense, then we're going to move to the capital. That's all for the expense, right? Okay. Capital budget requests. We have any responses to that?
Okay, go ahead. All right. So for number 6 in the capital budget, the response is that this is not recommended for funding, and I'd like some additional information on what their plan is to solve the issue that's highlighted here.
Okay. So
Number
is that
6,
for,
capital budget, construct an auditorium for Medgar Evers College Preparatory School?
is that for only 6 or it's number 7 too?
I'm sorry.
Strictly 6?
Strictly 6. Page 2,
Yeah, page 2,
number 6.
6. Okay.
Page 2, number 6. And then I have another. Just give me 1 second, please.
Which the other one?
Just 1 second, please. I'm going to have to come back before I find it. Yeah. This number, hold on 1 second. 1 second, 1 second. And it's that's 6 and 7, but there's another one, and I'll get back up with it.
Okay, Simone, thank you. State your name.
Hi, good evening. Ada Terry, Community Board 9. Question for 12, 13, 14. There's several education items here that say this request includes more than one proposal. Funding for part is recommended. Contact the agency for specifics. What exactly does that mean? Like what part was approved, what isn't? Who reaches out to the agency? When can we expect a response? How does that work?
Okay, this is numbers 12, 13, 14, and which other ones?
There's a couple of them, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Yeah, they all say the same thing.
Yeah, but which number, specific, 12 through?
I think it's like 12 through 17 and 11.
12 through 17 and number 11.
And 11. They're not, it sounds like some is for funding, some is not. Contact the agency. How does that work? When can we expect a response? What was approved? What wasn't? That's not very clear to me. So I just want to know how that works.
Hi, Ada. One is for the ones that say, oh, we're not going to do this at all, which is which is,
Well, it doesn't say they're not going to do it at all. It says this request.
oh no, I was looking to the PS 161.
Oh.
I thought you were doing all the school, all the
No, no,
schools
no,
that
I'm
had
doing-
negative
Well, I'm
responses.
doing the ones that state
Yeah,
this request concludes more than one proposal. Funding
Okay.
for part is recommended.
right.
Contact the
So
agency for specific.
for PS 221, what they're saying is that they have money that will do something in the school, maybe the gym or maybe a classroom or something. So what we can do is, in the response, we can say something like that, while we appreciate you funding something, this school is in really bad shape and the entire school needs to be looked at and money allocated. In the meantime, we can meet with them and we can see what it is that there's funding. We can invite them to come to a meeting.
Okay.
And they can say, well, we have, $1 million and this is what we're gonna do at PS 221. And similarly for the other responses at the other schools, the same thing. The one that says, like for 161, which is really,
Number 10, that was my other thing.
yeah.
Why
eight-
would they
no,
not fund that when it's old wiring and that's clearly hazardous? So
And-
for
and
me, that's a
eight-
big problem.
Yeah, and, yeah.
That, I mean, just my comment on number 10, that's a big
I
problem.
mean,
for them
and
not
no
to fund it.
gym in the schools, that is a very big problem because you need PE to graduate, for credits to graduate. And if you can't, if you're doing PE in a hallway, or you're waiting for the spring to come and go to the park to do PE, it's really not good.
Right.
So,
But old wiring is a whole different.
oh, that
thing.
too.
Those are my comments. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Ada.
All right, good evening. Should I wait?
Yeah,
Okay.
please do.
Diana Richardson, Community Board 9. I want us to send a letter of support for item number 6, stating we don't agree. Send a letter of support for item number 7, saying we don't agree, stressing how important it is to us.
Okay, hold a second. You want to send a letter
Diana,
of support?
it's
Yes, because they're
one
saying that
total
it's not...
document gets prepared
Okay,
for
okay,
all
well,
of the
well, I'm
items.
just calling it out. Item number 9, we don't agree. I'm suggesting a letter of support. Item number 10, I suggest we send a letter of support. To piggyback off of Ada, because I had those things underlined, let us contact the agencies and have them put into writing for us what the specifics are and send those to the public schools that are listed here. That's all of the same ones. Item number 18, send a letter of support or saying that we don't agree. Hold on, because it's a lot of pages. We, the community, I think education would be at the front of our agenda. All right, I ain't getting back and forth. Okay, I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Is it your name?
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Edu Hermelin, and I was just looking at your capital budget priorities, and I think that the priorities are somehow misprinted on this paper. I think that the education should be moved up, and especially as it relates to page 5, 12, 13, and 14. I must admit I am a bit biased because I am a graduate of PS 91, so I think to allocate funding for the complete reconstruction of PS 91 should be number 1. The priority for number 13 should be number 2, and priority number 3 should be priority 12, another allocation for schools. I think that education should come first, and that our investment should come first. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hermelin.
So I want to chime in one.
Name.
Thank you. Demetrius Lawrence, Community Board 9 member, second vice chair. And I want to chime in with Ada and everyone else. I was PTA president for PS 161, and I know for a fact, I spoke to Pearl from before, This school desperately needs a gymnasium for the children. These children, when I was in that school, had nowhere to play or exercise for that matter, and it's really a disgrace that they do not have a gym. So I want to see if we can try to work on that for 161 for a gym, including the wiring, which is a serious, serious issue for all of the children that's in there. I know the school is co-located, but we have little children there. We don't want to wait till something happens, God forbid, for us to make this change. So I want to see if we can make something on that behalf.
Thank you, Demetrius.
Alicia
Name.
Boyd again. The Education Committee met one time in 2014. So here you have a priority of all these concerns, and yet you don't have this committee meeting. So can somebody please tell me why in 2014 there was only one meeting of the Education Committee if education is going to be a priority for us and if we're concerned about that? How are we addressing these issues that are on this page and people's concerns if this community board refuses to meet and have committees? Can somebody tell me, please, why 2014 there was one education committee meeting? Why only one?
We're here to discuss budget
Please,
requests.
can you please answer my question?
We're here to discuss budget requests.
Well, this is a budget request. You're talking about issues that are coming from education that you want to sit. Somebody has to be supervising what's going on in our community. That's what committees do. Committees go out, they find out information, they come back to the community, and they discuss priorities. Who's made these priorities? We don't know who's created these priorities, but clearly the community is not in agreement with these priorities. And again, we're wondering, why are you violating the bylaws of CB9 by not having mandated committee meetings? So we're asking you, why haven't you had it in 2014? I'm waiting for the answer.
We're not discussing that tonight. We're here to discuss budget requests.
When will we ever be able to discuss these issues that
This
are
is not a
prevalent to us?
discussion for tonight.
Right. When will it, okay, so fine. When will it be able to be on the agenda for us to discuss? Because I went to your executive board meeting when you create the agenda and you refused to allow input from the community. We said we have concerns over the fact that committees are not
Boyd,
meeting.
you
So
are
I'm
now out of
asking
order.
you, when is this going to be
This is not the time for
discussed?
discussing that. We're discussing
But when
budget
are we going to
requests.
discuss it then?
This
When
is
are we
not-
going to discuss it? That's all we're asking.
We'll just wait until you calm down, and we're not here to
We're
discuss that tonight.
I'm not upset. I'm asking a very simple question. When are we going to discuss when you're going to be meeting with the community in these committees?
So, I have a question. Okay, my name is Beverly. My name is Beverly Newsom.
Talk to the mic. Talk to the mic.
My name is Beverly Newsom, Community Board 9. Being a new person to this, I don't really know what the expectations are to the responses. Could you explain to us what the path is in that?
The path. What do you do now?
Sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Beverly, could you just restate that again?
Beverly, can you
No.
repeat the question?
Could you explain to us what the process is with the responses? This side, what should we expect?
Okay. The city budget process, as I mentioned before, starts in June. It starts in June with meetings with the local service delivery agencies and myself. We talk about needs in the community. They talk about their needs. The sanitation might perhaps say that we need new trucks or equipment or whatever, manpower. Then when we do that, we have a meeting it's usually in September, and it's done by the Office of Management and Budget. And we sit down with the upper level management of different agencies, and we discuss, an agenda is prepared, and we discuss with those executives from the agencies additional needs, whatever we have on the agenda. We come back, we prepare requests, these, and we have a public hearing every October. We had one last October. People get a chance to speak, like this one. All our meetings are published on our website. They're also sent out to all who we have on our email list, and those people are given the agenda, and it says public hearing on requests for the FY, whatever the year is. So this one is FY 2016. We do that hearing in October, and then we have the submission, because we get a response and we submit these. They're submitted electronically now. You used to have to type everything up and send it out on these forms. And it goes, in October, it goes and they're reviewed. All the requests, they go to all the agencies. If you notice on each request, there's an agency responsible. Well, it goes to all those agencies for their consideration, and that's where the responses come from. They say, well, we can do this, or we can't do this, or we can do part of this, or, you know, we did this already, whatever the responses is. And then it comes back to us. And this is the start of the process where the mayor and everybody else gets involved. So it comes back to us, and here we are going over the responses. After tonight's meeting, right, so we're going over that now and saying whether we like what they said or we don't like what they said. And these are the reasons why. We don't like what you said about PS 161, because these children have endured this for too many years, and whatever impact is on them, and, you know, that type of thing. And we put all of that, and usually I put it together, and sometimes it depends on how much I have to say or want to say based on the comments. Sometimes I do 15, 18, 20, sometimes more pages than that, and they're all typewritten, so they are pretty much giving the agencies, the mayor and our council representatives, an idea of how we feel about these matters. And the budget continues in negotiations with the mayor and the city council. Depending on how successful they talk with each other, a budget is adopted by the mayor. And then they get on the steps of City Hall and they said, we have a budget and we're fine and moving forward. Come July 1st, the budget is in place. So whatever was approved and agreed to and adopted in those discussions with the mayor and the city council, those are the things where the money has been allocated to.
Simone,
Yes, so
name.
number 29.
Name.
Simone Bennett. Number 29, I'd like to send a letter of thanks to Laurie Cumbo. I understand, but in addition to that, because we know how dilapidated the President Street subway station has been, and she found money in her budget in the city council to address this number 29. So I'd like to send a letter of thanks to her. Thank you.
Hello, Leah Margulies. Did we need anything more than name?
No, keep
Oh,
going.
okay. I'd like to know if we can keep the open a while, the responses. Some of us are new to this process. I'm one of the new people to this process, and I saw the outline, but I didn't understand what we were supposed to do before getting to the meeting. So I'm wondering if you can set a date so that people can email you responses to the specific budget lines. And that may also make it easier for you to compile responses because we didn't know in advance how this works at this level, you know.
Understood.
So if you could set a date, that would help.
Can we?
Hey, I'm Tim Thomas.
Tim, Hossein.
I just wanted to respond to the lady. The budget process, I think people find very complicated. I mean, it's we had two individuals at the Office of Management and Budget who that was their job, to work with community boards and to make sure we get through the process. And they just retired, and they haven't replaced them. There's one guy there now that's doing this. But what I don't know when, but I think that they can provide some training, explanation on the process and what happens when and that kind of thing. So it's something that we can keep in mind and do for the community.
Okay.
Hey, I'm Tim Thomas. So I'm going to do something really radical here. I'm going to agree with Alicia Boyd 100%. The problem for me with this process is that our committees do not meet. I explained in an email to the board, and I want to share it with the public. I believe that each of these committees, like many of the other community boards, should meet once a month on a regular date, say it's the third Wednesday of the month, and that at those meetings, even if we don't have some pressing new piece of information, these budget requests should be looked at every single meeting so that we can have a better answer than we do tonight. I'm embarrassed that the community board does not have better answers for this, and I know for a fact the last 3 years, almost nobody has expressed any interest in these budgets. So I'm actually very pleased to hear members of the community showing up for this and do hold us accountable. I believe that's absolutely essential.
Thank you, Tim.
My name is Maxine Barnes, and I guess I'll piggyback, or he piggybacked off my question, which was exactly that. When are these proposals made? I don't remember a public hearing. Where are the minutes from those meetings? The public would like to see the minutes. I'm sorry?
They're on our website.
I go to your website. And
They are on our
It's not
website.
on the website. It's not on the website. I asked her when was the day. When was the hearing for the public? October what?
The October meeting. The October meeting.
October what? You only have one meeting. It's right on the website. October what?
It was,
You
it was the
have all this
October
printed
meeting.
material. You have a capital budget for fiscal year ending 2016, and you don't know when the public hearing was? What date? Good question. Where was it? Where
It
was
the
it? Do you
October
know where
28th
was it,
meeting.
Chairman? Do you know
It
where
the
it was?
October 28th meeting.
October 28th, where?
There was a hearing. We started here, and we finished it at Downstate.
It started here at Medgar Evers Founders Auditorium?
No.
That's not true.
No, it started at Edison O. Jackson Auditorium, and we had to cancel the meeting. We had to move it to Downstate.
That's not true. Let the record state it's not true.
Okay, well. Name, please. Name.
Okay, my name is Patricia Jackson, okay? All right. Y'all said something about getting funds for this auditorium in this school for the kids, something like that y'all said? You remember you said something about the gym?
Okay.
They don't have a gym? Okay, and I'm sure it's in a black neighborhood, okay? And in a black neighborhood, and we got black people sitting there, okay? And we got so-called black politicians. What is the reason these black kids don't have a gym? Oh, no? Okay. We should have the
Does anybody else have any budget requests for the capital budget? Anybody else want to testify on the capital budget? Okay, the capital budget request is now closed. Next order of business is a presentation of the draft of a request to the Department of City Planning for a planning study for Community District 9. Ben Edwards, our ULURP chair, please come to the mic and read the resolution.
Nobody agreed to this draft. This draft was created before the ULA committee even began.
Who wrote the draft?
Who wrote this
We're not
draft?
going to continue until we have silence in the room.
Who wrote this draft?
What you want? No discussion.
Okay. Let him read this draft. That's gonna build all in our
2 weeks
community.
before the committee, nobody had any input on this draft. Community, this is what they talking about. We did not agree to this.
Build all throughout our community. Nobody said.
Who wrote it?
Who wrote that draft?
Where was
Yes,
this? What
and
date and what
who
exact
wrote
room
it? It
was
did not
this?
come out of a committee. Who wrote
No
it?
committee.
Who wrote it?
Violation.
Who wrote it?
Let them read.
It's secret, behind closed
Let them
doors.
read this vote. And then Vinny, you come in the rest.
That's why we
Breaking
gotta
the
get
law.
some different politicians. Get the ones we got out of office and put the ones we want in office, okay? That's what we want them to do, okay? Not what these sellouts want them to do. That's what we gotta do. Get these folks out of office. But they then point out
All right, go ahead, read it.
You had to read that illegal draft that was done outside of the community.
Go ahead, read it. Pick up one. Go ahead, read that illegal draft.
Who made it, Ben Edwards? Who created that draft, Ben Edwards?
Read that garbage.
Ben Edwards, the ULURP committee chair. I'm going to read the draft to you. Community Board 9 is pleased to submit on behalf of the residents.
We need everyone to be quiet. We need everyone to be quiet so we can hear them. This is just a letter.
Calling
Okay, kid, read it. It's quiet.
Don't read it. Don't read it.
It's quiet.
That's right. That's right. Because they keep allowing you to do it.
Okay, quiet. It's quiet. We got quiet.
Community Board 9 is pleased to submit on behalf of the residents of Community District 9 this request, calling on the Department of City Planning to immediately begin a planning study of the following geographic area in Community District 9, Brooklyn: south side of Eastern Parkway and north side of Clarkson Avenue, east side of New York Avenue and west side of Flatbush Avenue / Ocean Avenue. We request that the planning study look not only at rezoning in our district, but also consider the concomitant needs for improved infrastructure that will support improved service delivery to the residents of Community District 9. Specific consideration should be given to improved sanitation, sewer disposal and water delivery, improved transportation, access and safety, expansion of open space to meet the needs of a large underserved youth population, improve expanded school buildings to correct the severe lack of gymnasiums, computer rooms, music rooms, libraries that our children currently enjoy. Community Board 9 requests that the planning study be conducted in collaboration with the community to ensure transparency and widespread input, and that discussions in the planning stages be focused on finding solutions that will address the concerns expressed by the community for the following: building and maintaining permanent affordable housing, building and maintaining low-income housing, building.
Preserve. We said it 100 times. Preserve, not build. Preserve. We said preserve.
Ms. Boyd, could you please be seated and let us continue with this reading? Building and maintaining permanent affordable housing, building and maintaining low-income housing, building of housing for senior citizens, protecting existing tenants from displacement, creating specific height limits for all new buildings to blend with surrounding structures, ensuring that all new buildings be contextual, maintaining the aesthetically pleasing character of the district, ensuring that new residential developments be appropriate for an already dense district, completing a thorough environmental impact study. Community Board 9 strongly believes that the Department of City Planning is distinctly qualified to conduct this study in the community's behalf. We have full faith and confidence that together with our elected officials and a fully engaged community, we will emerge from this exercise a stronger, more cohesive community.
Now, Ben
Awaiting your
Edwards,
response.
who created this draft, Ben Edwards? Talking about transparency, who created this draft? Who created this draft? Who created this draft?
Not signed.
Who created it? Talking about transparency.
With a name.
Where's the name?
We wasn't on the committee.
Where's the name?
Where's our application? Who wrote it? We didn't say it. No, no one talking about that draft. No. No, because they go with it.
Who created that draft?
Signatures.
Who created that draft? When did they create that draft? Because it didn't come from a committee. That's not what we said.
Not what we said.
We said no Empire Boulevard on that study. And Empire Boulevard is on that study. That's what we said. We said no Empire Boulevard. And there is on that study. No.
We don't want that draft. So who's going to make the
want that draft?
The meeting will proceed when we're all quiet and let people speak, respectfully come to the mic.
We
Ms. Boyd, if you don't stop, this is going to be the first. We have
we
to
don't
get
wanna-
quiet in the room so we can continue with the meeting. Okay.
If we want to speak, I know we have people who want to speak and showing the concerns of speaking. If you could just... It's going to get to a long thing. Let's this lady speak.
Okay, we have to, Ms. Boyd, you have to stop doing that because we cannot continue with the meeting until. All right, Ms. Boyd, you have to stop, otherwise we're gonna have to have, this is your second warning.
This is like the 10th warning. It's got to stop. Come on, Dwayne.
Yeah. We are not gonna, no. Ms. Boyd, please sit down so we can continue the meeting.
Hey, Dwayne, I want to make a motion on... Mr. Chairman.
NYPD, would you please remove Ms. Boyd?
The cops are walking out of the room.
Mr. Chairman, I want to make a motion.
But no one can speak when she's yelling like that. She has to stop. They can't continue. That is not the way we conduct it. Get them out. Listen, Dwayne, stop doing this. You're making them...
Hey, Dwayne. Mr. Chairman.
The cop left the room. What are we supposed to do?
Because you're allowing her to do whatever.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
I want to make a motion.
Okay, we are gonna, NYPD, please remove these people from the room. Would NYPD please remove these people from the room?
He's not going to do it. So, Mr. Chairman, I want to make a motion. Excuse me. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. We're doing that. So listen, I want to make this motion on behalf of me, Demetrius Lawrence, and I'm sorry, but it's been going back and forth with the community's feedback with regards to this draft letter / resolution. So I'm going to make a motion as a community board member that we should tape. This is a hearing, but I want to make a motion. I know it may be inappropriate, but I want to make a motion that it goes back to the ULIP committee for discussion.
We are in public session.
Okay. Hello? Hello?
It's not for cheers or anything like that, but it's not for cheers. Because I don't want the applause, I don't want none of the recognition, but it's important. It's important that we do hear from the community, and I understand, but I want to make sure I'm following the protocol. We did do that. We had it on February the 4th and the 11th, and we heard from the community. But listen, I understand your concern. The concern is of the draft resolution or the draft letter that was prepared this evening. So I'm suggesting and making a motion that we bring it back to the ULIP committee for their discussion.
My name is Laura Imperiali. I'm the first vice chair of Community Board 9. I also serve on the ULIRP committee, and I believe that this draft letter needs to go back to the ULIRP committee to be reviewed, to then be presented in a format to the community. Thank you. So I second the motion.
Okay, we are in public session. We are not taking motions at this point. We are in public session. We are not taking motions. That goes during the business session. This is the public session. This is a public hearing. We are talking about the document.
This is ridiculous. Where's NYPD?
Okay. Would NYPD please remove these people from the room?
They gonna do the vote? They gonna do the vote?
Okay, those who wanted to speak, please come to the mic. Please state your name and what organization you're from. Please state the size of your organization.
Alicia, you are not the whole community. I'm sorry. You have to let other people speak. You are not the whole community.
Would everybody please sit back down? Everybody please take a seat.
Okay, right now we are moving to public comments. Stop. What are you, 5 years old? Let other people speak. Stop. All right. All right, we are having people from the community come up to speak.
Would everybody please have a seat?
Sorry, go ahead. No, she's in line. You have
We cannot speak when you're doing that. Alicia, stop it.
Ms. Boyd, if you don't Ms. Boyd, you have to stop that.
You are not the whole community.
Would everybody please take a seat? Would everyone please take a seat?
Guys, with all due respect, can we get to the business session? With all due respect, can we get to? No one can hear you. No one can hear me. With all due respect, with all due respect, with all due respect. I know, but we have to get going on. We have to move on.
Would everyone please have a seat and let the speaker talk? Would everyone please have a seat?
We can't line up here?
I'm ready to shut this down totally.
So what's to discuss?
This is ridiculous.
We'd like to comment.
It's the same thing you did with that other illegal Why would we trust you?
All right, folks, would everyone please have a seat?
The other discussions that
Please have a seat. Ms. Boyd, you've been warned several times. Now you're blowing a noisemaker. Ms. Boyd, please stop doing that noisemaker.
You are not the whole community. There's a lot of other people here.
Ms. Boyd, please stop. NYPD, please remove this woman from the room.
I've been living here 8 years.
Would everyone please have a seat?
What happened? Why aren't they arresting her?
Please, everyone have a seat.
All right, everybody please settle down.
The speaker cannot speak until we all quiet and everybody sits down. Would please everyone sit down?
You are not the only voice in this community. There are a lot of other voices. Let them speak.
Thank you, Ms. Margulies.
Okay. I'm speaking on behalf of the Prospect Park East Network Steering Committee because we're the only ones that have had a chance to look at the draft. We are generally supportive of the draft resolution, and
Ms. Margulies, wait a minute. Ms. Margulies.
Look, we're trying to hear the speakers. Will you guys just shut up for a minute? People have a right to speak. People have a right to speak and be heard. Stop talking and allow people to speak. Please. People cannot speak in this. People are standing here waiting to speak and to be heard. Alicia Boyd does not speak for this whole community. She speaks for her bread and breakfast on Sterling Street. That's what she's speaking for, not the whole community.
Can I say one thing, please?
So
Please, can I listen?
you need to be.
Can I say
you
one
need
thing?
to allow people to speak.
Let the preacher
Have
speak.
some decency and respect. Have some for yourself and some for the community.
Please. Can I say one thing, please? I stand to the board members and the rest of the community with respect to the... Hello, with respect to the district manager, Pearl Miles, and everyone else. Hello. With regards to the motion that I put out there, I stand corrected. I stand corrected that I can't put a motion out in public session, so please forgive me. But I do understand their concerns. So with respect to the district manager and the chairman, I was out of order for putting that motion out in public session. But I understand the concerns of the community, but I can't put that motion out. So as the chairman can rescind my motion that I put out. It was totally, I'll say that it was out of order.
Thank you,
so
Demetrius.
Yes, but in public session, I cannot put that motion out, so I do want to say forgive me, for I was out of order for putting it out in public session, the motion to bring it back to you. Look.
Ms. Margulies,
okay.
could you please state
I'll
your name
try
and start
again.
over?
I'm speaking on behalf of the Prospect Park East Network Steering Committee. My name is Leah Margulies, and we are generally supportive of that draft. We'd like to see a little more specificity about contextual zoning, because right now with the very high projects like 626 and Ebbets Field, we don't want that to be considered contextual. So it should be contextual to the dominant 4 to 6 story buildings throughout the neighborhood. Thank you for letting me speak, because there are many voices in this community, and we have to let everyone have a chance to speak. I am going to walk around and distribute copies of the principles that we have shared before with the community board and with members of the community, and it's on our website. And I'm going to give it out because I think there are a lot of people here that would actually probably agree with us. I really think that if we could talk to each other civilly, we could get through this process and have some real input into it. Because whatever they do, it still has to go back and be approved, and it has to get passed by city council. So we have a lot of room to respond. There's a lot of things going on in the city that relate to this right now. We are not the only community. There are a lot of communities who are troubled by what's happening and who don't want to have zoning railroaded by them. We could, if we did this right, we could be a model. If we could have civil conversation and get everyone's viewpoint. This is actually a pretty small community, and we could be a model for the city, because the mayor is getting a lot of pushback right now. And also there's a lot more going on to support tenants, like the right to counsel in housing court, the setting up of the anti-harassment task force. So there's a lot going on. But if you keep yelling at us, we can't talk.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Margulies. Okay, everyone needs to clear the aisles. We need to clear the emergency exits. We cannot do that. We're breaking the fire code, please. Everyone have a seat.
Good evening. My name is Kwasi Mensah.
Folks, hold a second, Kwasi. Folks, please, everybody, please take a seat.
Good evening. My name is Kwasi Mensah, and my greetings to the elected officials, community board members, guests, and the public in general. For those of us who live in northern Brooklyn, including myself, we saw the lean and challenging times. And we have today a sense of foreboding and frustration. In light of the rapid changes, primarily when it comes to the valuation of property and the impact it has on its residents. Who would believe that in such a short time, Brooklyn would become the place to be, the it place? In a sense, in understanding this, we ask, what happened? We may say or ask, who's to blame? Is it greedy, insensitive developers, unscrupulous politicians, or unawares residents? Certainly the issue of gentrification and the impact on our people is undeniable, and hopefully we can find a remedy. I would prefer without unwarranted, unfair finger-pointing and attacks upon one's integrity. If one can even assign blame, the one thing that escapes me is the ire directed at your board chairman, Dwayne Nicholson, as if he's responsible for recent developments in Crown Heights that were in place 40 years ago. He was a child. I was a child. I've heard the comments, read the blogs, and I'm in shock in the way he's being treated, the way they're being treated. And as a longtime friend, I'm standing to speak for him. Of course, we can disagree. And disagreement, when warranted, is healthy to express. But it must be done in a way of respect. with yelling and confrontation kept to a minimum, if not eliminated altogether. The situation on Empire Boulevard, amongst others, is very sensitive, one which cool heads must come together on all sides to ensure that the neighborhood retains its dignity and integrity. The opinions are pointed, the discourse intense, but no matter where you stand, can you honestly look in the mirror and say that you've approached this from the most objective and balanced manner possible? No, Dwayne does not want to be yes man or yes woman, but he needs to be treated with deference and respect that he is due, not only as your chair, but as a member of Community Board 9, a longtime community resident, and simply a human being. To this end, I hope that Community Board 9, both the Executive Board and the General Membership in these trying times, supports and stands behind him. While I have no doubt about the abilities and accomplishments of the past president, I'm here to tell you, and Dwayne, you have the best. You have the best. Okay? And you should support him in the years to come. And I want to ask the detractors. Let me tell you something. Some of you all here spoke out of time, like madmen and women. So don't tell me about time.
Okay.
Okay?
That's 3 minutes, Quasi.
Okay. All right. Why didn't? Okay. Okay. Anyhow, this is a man of many talents, many accomplishments. And I'm saying again, in closing, democracy is a wonderful vehicle. I believe in democracy. But when you act out of line, it becomes demon crazy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next speaker.
Hi, everybody. It's Alan Berger.
State your name.
Alan Berger with Concerned Citizens for Community-Based Planning. We are against the city. We are against the board putting this request into the city for a study. Here are the reasons why. We think it puts the community, puts the people, puts this district at a significant disadvantage if we approve a formal request now to city planning to conduct a study. Here are the reasons. One, without providing a significant detailed assessment of the conditions in our district, without very specific details of what we are asking for and what we are not asking for, we're going to leave the door open to city planning to carry out their own agenda. Okay? And we've seen what that agenda is like when we're looking at East New York, other neighborhoods. It's at odds with our agenda. Second, city planning will likely come back to us after their study is completed and not give us enough time, could be as little as 7 to 10 days, according to experts we've talked to be able to respond to this in an effective way, again, putting us at a significant disadvantage. The de Blasio administration is even more developer-friendly than the Bloomberg administration, and laser-focused on achieving their affordable housing goals. Any opening they get in this regard, they'll take maximum advantage of. There is no reason to prioritize adding affordable housing in any request. If we ask for affordable housing now, we would likely end up without true contextual zoning, without preservation of existing affordable housing, without preservation of our ability to build truly affordable housing on affordable land. We'd be better off walking away now, reassessing in detail what our needs really are, going back to city planning with a comprehensive plan that encompasses all the factors, such as special zones, historic districts, commercial setbacks, open spaces, etc. This can be accomplished in as little as 3 months. Proceeding with a city planning developed study now would lead to much greater density and height limits than if we did nothing at all. City planning, as we've heard earlier in one of our budget priorities, is struggling with resources right now to carry out the city's ambitious housing agenda. Therefore, it is to our advantage to present a plan where much of the work has already been done, meaning we're doing the study ourselves. Recently, this is really recent, the city announced a series of changes that may include adding 1 to 4 stories to existing contextual zones and eliminating parking requirements. These changes would have a significant impact on this process. Another reason to have an experienced and expert representative on our side to research and analyze what this will mean for our proposed zoning plan. Given these points above, we really want to ask and understand what the reasons are that the board, what evidence the board has for not supporting this community and taking steps that'll put us in the strongest possible position prior to asking the city for a rezoning. Secondly, we also make the strong recommendation that more dialogue take place between the community and community board. We are not being given the opportunity to have our questions answered, as we've seen tonight, so that we can hear.
That's 3 minutes.
What's missing here is we haven't heard directly from the board. We don't understand what the board's thinking is. We haven't heard from the board. We haven't been able to answer questions to the board and get answers. It's the only way we stand a chance of making progress towards some kind of consensus. So let's try to come together now, unite, assess the district's needs in totality, and let's use a professional planner to do the research and work with us to submit a detailed request to city planning based on our study of our own community. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go back over the rules again. We have 3 minutes per speaker. We're already running behind schedule.
I'd like to address...
Name, please.
My name is Sue-An Cheong. I am a community resident. I'd like to address a couple of points in the draft resolution. First of all, the request for a thorough environmental impact study. I'm not sure what the intention of the board was in requesting this, but it concerns me because one of the things that I learned as a plaintiff in an environmental lawsuit is that environmental impact studies are not required unless you contemplate a disruptive impact on the community. In other words, a lot of extra building, a lot of density, a big impact on traffic, displacement of tenants, shadows, etc. Other communities that have been contextually rezoned, for example, Windsor Terrace and Carroll Gardens, did not even have an environmental assessment statement, which is the preliminary to an impact statement. All they had was a letter stating that there was to be no overall increase in residential development. Even Crown Heights West, which did an environmental assessment statement, did not do an impact study because at an expected additional 250 units of development, there wasn't considered to be enough additional impact to warrant an impact study. So my question to the board would be, what was the intention behind that statement? And are you implying by that that you expect from this rezoning that there be a disruptive impact on the community? My second question, or my second point, is about the request at the end for the community becoming stronger and more cohesive. And I realize there's been a lot of disruption, and that to many people is frustrating or intimidating, and I can imagine if you're in the hot seat that it's unwelcome. But at the same time, I think the true division in this community has been as a result of a series of polarizing choices that have been presented to us in terms of having to trade up zonings for down zonings, height for affordability, height for density, save one block versus save another. I personally believe that most of these trade-offs are false. For example, there is absolutely no legal requirement in the city charter or any of the environmental review manuals that say we have to have an upzoning to balance a downzoning. That's something that city planning tells us because the developers want it. So why can we not question that? And I think we need time to get together and talk with independent experts and to talk to each other about which of these trade-offs are real or false and how we want to make them. And we need to do this before we go to city planning. Thank you.
Thank you, Suki.
Hello, Jay Sword. I'm a property owner in the neighborhood. One thing that's missing here is anybody here from the Public Advocate's Office? There are so many people here who complain. The public advocate gets a few $1,000,000, has a tremendous amount of lawyers. There are specific issues that go on where people are screaming and hollering. But where is the public advocate to fight for the public? Okay? That's number one. Number two, the second question is, in terms of the procedural aspect, why do we have a ULURP committee? The purpose of a ULURP committee, as all the committees, is that they have more expertise and they give recommendations based upon who they are and what they know. Did this pass the ULURP committee? No. Now, the requirements in the 2008 New York City Community Board parliamentary procedure says that in committees, you have to have a quorum requirement, which is a majority of those appointed. You need a quorum, which is a majority. You also need a majority of those present. And after you have those two, you have to show what people's votes are by a roll call. And the roll call it specifically says the board must record each member's vote. So we're not talking about just the total, we mean each member. So if you think there's a few individuals who are selling you out, you should know who they are. And the second step is, then what you do is there are two questions should be asked. Who nominated them? Which of the city council people nominated them? That's the third question. And then right after you see who nominated them, then you speak to the boss who appointed them. You speak to Eric Adams and you say, we don't want them on the board. So there has to be a roll call and accountability. So the question I will ask is, if the community board procedures, 2008, the parliamentary procedure, is in conflict with the with the bylaws, because somebody just mentioned to me, does anybody have a copy of the bylaws to justify one person of a committee passing this? Well, there should be a comparison between where it says it in the bylaws, and if there's a conflict between the 2008 parliamentary procedure where it says you need a quorum, you need to tabulate, which is you need more than half present, tabulating the votes and open ballots. If there's a question on the two of them, ask the public advocate what's the correct answer. And the second thing is you could also get the city law department, okay? She represents the public. What are you giving me this sort of salute?
Jake.
Wait, I'm not done. I'm not done. I'm not done. Number one, it's improper to interrupt me when I'm speaking. And number two is, I didn't appreciate your vote on my topic, which was the mental housing, because your wife is the trustee in a hospital who is getting, hold on, let's say it, who is getting funds from New York State. Now there's a second issue. There's a second. The public has a right to know. We have to know. The last question. Don't worry, you'll get a job.
Okay,
from me,
we're
don't
at
worry.
3 minutes, Jay.
Okay, listen. The next question is when was the last time we did a conflict of interest analysis based upon the resumes of the people over here? The third question is, if you go on the website, one of the first things that they say on the website is...
3.5 minutes, Jay.
What's that?
The 3.5 minutes.
What's that? Well, this is important. Let me tell you, the last thing is that the public has a right to speak. It's in the parliamentary procedure.
They don't have a right to
So
speak
when
all
your
night.
website says, do you have a right to speak? That's like having a dinner and saying, do you have a right to have food? It's ridiculous, okay? There's an absolute right to speak. The last thing is that there's something, all the money
We're
that
at
New York
4
City
minutes,
gets.
Jay.
Last sentence. Dwayne, 3 times I asked you to correct the vote. The vote in mine was 15 out of 30. It's not a majority. Stop ignoring me. You have a responsibility to correct it. And I'll also, okay? We should go over the procedure.
We're at 4.5 minutes, Jay.
I asked the person I cut in on.
Wait a minute. Jake.
Yes,
Jake,
I am,
Jake.
and you're out of line.
Jake.
I'm on the board,
Jake.
and you're out of line.
Jake, say your name.
Okay. A statement was made that the public advocate is the person to decide what's right and what's wrong. In the city charter, The Corp Council of the City of New York represents all city agencies. Community Board number 9 is a city agency. When there's an issue of law or an understanding, we at the board turn to Corp Council for that decision. And they're the ones who guide our actions, whoever we are, whoever the board is. That's number 1. Number 2, hey, excuse me. Number 2,
All right, let the speaker speak, please. Let's shut the whole meeting down. What the hell do we keep going over this for?
Number
It's
2,
the same nonsense.
an allegation
Why are we
was
shutting down
made.
a total meeting? We don't need to be doing
An
this
allegation
every
was
damn
made
month. Every month we're doing the same
that my
thing.
wife sits on the board of Kingsbrook. And the answer is she's been there for 25 years. Number 2, I never, ever discussed board business with my wife. I have an arm's length. Thank you.
We're going to go through this for another whole month.
Hey,
Thank you,
hello.
Jake.
Hey, folks, yo, hey. Is it on? Can you hear me? Okay. Hi,
Name?
folks. I'm Quest Fanning. I grew up on Ocean Avenue. I live with my wife and our daughter, Franny, on Flatbush Avenue. And so, you know, I've lived in the neighborhood my whole life. I'm here representing Prospect Lefferts Gardens Neighborhoods Association tonight. Prospect Lefferts Gardens Neighborhood Association, PLEGNA, was established in 1968 by residents of Prospect Lefferts Gardens, PLG, who opposed unfair real estate and bank practices like redlining and wanted to form a working interracial neighborhood. One of the first projects was to document 300 abandoned and 3 deteriorated buildings within the neighborhood, which ranges from Empire Boulevard to Clarkson Avenue, from Ocean Avenue to New York Avenue. In 1973, PLEGNA became involved in a landmark legal battle to combat redlining. Over the years, PLEGNA has been steadfast in support of the rights of workers, businesses, homeowners, and tenants alike. Today, the challenges of PLG's businesses and residents are quite different than they were 40 years ago. Rents are going up at an eye-watering rate. Those who, with rent-stabilized units, increasingly find themselves the object of unwanted pressure to leave. Far from abandoned, the properties in our community are being looked at almost covetously by ambitious developers. This is a neighborhood that has achieved great diversity while maintaining an admirable degree of social cohesion. We are now struggling to maintain our diversity in the face of these forces. Change happens, but let it be for the better. The question of zoning first came up back in 2008, but then it got set aside when there was when the economy went down and the threat of a tower being built on Lincoln Road went away. But then a year and a half ago, when we found out about 626 Flatbush being built, it came to the fore that the Flatbush Avenue and Ocean Avenue corridor has very, very permissive zoning. It's right by the park, and it's a real delight for someone who wants to build a luxury tower. This is still an active problem. This is something that there needs to be something done about. Now, the process, there are any number of ways that the process could be done, but it needs to be realized that that until something is done about this, this will continue to be a problem. Okay? About 3/4 of the rental units in PLG are currently rent stabilized. At least as important as new development, the protection of the viability of these units for future generations must be a priority. The average income in PLG is half that of the area considered for standard AMI calculations to determine what is quote-unquote affordable. That means that we make about family of 4 in our neighborhood makes about $40,000 a year versus $85,000 for the area considered. So you can't just apply a one-size-fits-all formula for what is considered affordable. You can't just, say, oh, look, it's affordable because I'm going to give an apartment to someone who's making only $60,000 a year.
3 minutes, Wes.
Oh, let me just wrap it up. Okay. I just want to make 3 quick points. Luxury development is a detriment to the overall housing situation of existing residents. For for something to be considered affordable, it has to be affordable by standards of the community, not just the city overall. And the height of new buildings should be in real context, with the actual existing buildings, 4- and 6-story buildings, not 12-story, not 23, not 16. Thank you.
Thank you, Quest.
Good evening. I'm Brenda Edwards, a PLG resident. Usually when I speak is for PPEN, but the perks of being retired is that I'm trying to get involved in every group in my community as possible and come to these very exciting, eventful community board meetings. So here I am actually tonight speaking for Plegna, which Quest just gave a little rundown on. And I've been elected as a board member just last week. So I'm very happy about that because I've always been inspired by the group of people who first started Plegna in 1968. And it was their desire to improve relationships among the people of the community. And I'm talking about all walks of life, all classes, all genders, all religions, and ethnic groups. And although things right now are not perfect, I believe as we work together a day at a time, it will get better. At this time, no matter what our position is in the neighborhood, which group or organization we are affiliated with, I think we can all agree that although change is inevitable, change does not have to ignore or destroy what we know must be preserved. This is why Plegna seeks to have the type of zoning we've been asking about Flatbush and Ocean Avenue. You know, we've been complaining about what's going on there, and that's how this whole thing got started. But what we seek to do is protect and maintain the character of what we've come to cherish, and that makes us distinct from all communities. I think with the out-of-character building on Ocean and the infamous 626 luxury tower on Flatbush Avenue, we are reminded on the need for proper zoning on a daily basis, which we as a collective community must do together. In view of this, we're looking forward to collaborating. When I say collaborating, that means that everybody gets together and discuss their needs and, and also think about their neighbors as what is important. It can't be an I, and I know that I've been guilty of that because I'm on Chester Court facing the 626 building. So I realize I do have to take in consideration what my neighbors are seeking. So with the community board, we must work with them. Even if we have to guide them, we have to work with them. We have to work with groups that we don't always agree with. We have to work and talk with individuals that we may not agree with. But the whole point is we are seeking to participate in an effort to continuously define ourselves for ourselves.
Thank you, Brenda.
Hi, good evening. My name is Lorraine Thomas, and I'm giving my 3 minutes to Alicia Boyd.
Maxine Barnes, I'm relinquishing my 3 minutes to Alicia Boyd.
All right, wait a minute. We're not going to have one person speak for 9 minutes. That's not going to happen.
You are allowed to do that. You are allowed. How many?
No, you are not allowed to do that. You have your 3 minutes, and now you're wasting 20 seconds of it.
You are allowed to do that. It's okay. I can stand here. I can stay there. I can stay here. I can stay here. It's okay for me. It's okay. It's okay. No, it hasn't started yet. It hasn't started. It hasn't started. The law states that if somebody wants to give you their 3 minutes, they can give you their 3 minutes. And as always, it's okay. As always, the community board decides what laws they want to enforce and what laws they want to ignore. So let me tell you about the open meetings law. The open meetings law states that there is no public business that can be done that is not open to the public. That means that they have to identify what meeting that they have, the time of that meeting. They have to post it on the website 7 days before the meeting. And the community has a right to sit at that meeting. Minutes are supposed to be taken of that meeting. and then published 7 days after the end of that meeting. That's the law. This is not something that I made up. This is the law. And yet they now have a draft that they're presenting to you that does not follow any of those laws. It's a draft that was done in secret. Nobody knows who did it. There is no minutes of it. Nobody is stating that they created it. And it is now being presented to the community as from the community. Now, nobody signed it. When I met with the executive board and inquired about this draft, I was told by Dwayne Nicholson that the draft was actually created before the EULA committees began. And yet, excuse me, what I could do, it's on tape, thank you, it's on tape. It's on tape. Dwayne Nicholson said that the draft was created 2 weekends ago the date was February the 17th. He said it in a meeting, and it's on tape.
Warren.
So what they're doing is, again, they're presenting a draft that has language that will upzone our community. Build, build, build. Build, build, build. Empire Boulevard is starting a study. We are starting a study with 7 major organizations. BMW, Sterling Street, Stoddard, Ludland, and Sullivan Place. 320 Sterling Street, Tenant Association. Thank you. East Flatbush, Equality for Flatbush. We started a study. What this executive board wants to do is ignore that study and keep Empire Boulevard on their rezoning study and use Empire Boulevard as
4 minutes. Somebody yank the plug, please. 4 minutes.
As the carrot. What they want to do is they want to upzone Empire Boulevard and replace so-called downzone. But city planning has come and told us they will not be doing any downzoning in this community. They said they want to build 10. That was shady. They said 10 to 12 stories.
That's right. You had your time. Your time is up. It's over. Next speaker.
Tim Thomas again. I want to make sure that I get this in. There was one thing that was taken out from the draft was Ellie Cohen's concern for the 4 blocks. I would like to see that put back in. This is not the time to do it. We will be going back to the ULURP committee. I believe in the business session, you will find out that we need one more time to go through the language. I want to thank the concerned citizens, Suki and Alan. I think they've come up with an excellent idea. And I hope that you do it alongside the city planning study, because I think you're right. We need as much information as we can through a process that'll take a couple of years. I want to say right now that all the damage that is being done and has been done already is going to continue. This ULURP committee is not going to stop it. Zoning is not going to stop it. It's happening right now. And I encourage everybody to get involved in the real fight, which is against landlords, which are denying people the opportunity to stay in their homes. That's what we should be focused on. It's too long that this committee and this board has been fighting over a very simple issue. Please vote.
Thank you, Tim.
My name is Vita Clark.
Ms. Clark, you got to talk to the mic. Ms. Clark, you got to talk into the mic and say your name. Just talk directly into the mic.
My name is Vita Clark, a retired nurse, live in this community since 1978. I've seen the community up and I've seen the community down, okay? But at the same time, we got to get houses to take the people them off the street, the people like we, off the street.
Ms. Clark, you
So
have to talk to the
how are
mic.
we going to deny the city building houses, right? We're not done to talk about third world country. Third world country build house for them people. I passed through 42nd Street this morning at the station, and what this woman lying down there with all that crutches, right? If we have house, they wouldn't be there. We need to take the children and mothers out of the so-called hotel where the city is paying. You don't look at that. They're paying money to keep them, right? And you don't want,
Ms. Clark, talking to the mic.
right? The so-called hotel when you put the people them in, right? Let them build houses. Let them build houses.
Ms. Clark, talk to the mic. Thank you, Ms. Clark. Let the speaker speak, please. Let's have a little quiet.
My name is Thomas Thomas. I live down the block. My profession is urban planning. I have one or two comments. One is minor, and that is that the boundary that is described in the letter talks about the south side of Eastern Parkway. I would make it the north side of Eastern Parkway, so we include Eastern Parkway within our study area.
What happens, remember, the north side of Eastern Parkway is Community Board 8.
Well, that's a major artery that we should get our 2 cents in on. But to the... Of more major import, I think, there are a list of items in the draft, and they are all valid issues that need to be studied. There are two terms that somehow got waylaid along the way, and that is comprehensive planning, which would lead to a comprehensive rezoning study, up, down, sideways, whatever. The issues in the draft are derivative issues from a major study of land use and zoning. Earlier, a gentleman said something about basically us getting our 2 cents in on the planning process. I couldn't agree more with that. The City Planning Commission is a creature of the mayor. No one should be surprised if the City Planning Commission reaches out to pay the mayor's political debts. So that's not to say that we should just back off and let that happen. When there is a comprehensive planning study and then a rezoning study following that, we should have our people in it, not just waiting for it to be finished and then comment on it, but we should be there side by side with these guys, telling them what that comprehensive land use result should be. We will get cut out of the process unless we demand to be kept in it. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas.
Yeah, again. All right, all right. Good evening, everybody. A previous speaker, Tim Thomas, said something that people here, I hope
please
they
let the speaker
understood
speak?
very well. Tim Thomas said something very important. Tim said, as we sit here and bicker, developers are moving on. Let me just share. Okay. I happen to, in my running, I happen to have stopped at Bedford and Empire to ask the developer there what he is building. And he told me the following words: we are building a storage facility. We are building a storage facility. However, what? Oh, you're going to hear it. However, he said, they're awaiting to see what happens with the city with a zoning study because the interior of the building can be changed very rapidly and to accommodate a housing structure. That's how it was designed. Let me tell you something. On Lefferts Avenue, between Brooklyn and Kingston, there was a huge lot. It was sitting empty for the longest time. Well, guess what? That lot has been sold, and they're putting units in there. And as we sit here and talk, instead of doing the right thing and getting and moving us in a direction that the board would like, which is appropriate, we will have nothing to talk about in the very near future, as everything will be talked for. Thank you.
Thank you, Jake. That will close our public session. Time to move on to the business session. Can we call the roll?
Patricia Baker. Patricia Baker. Fred Baptiste.
Wait a minute. Where's Patricia
Simone
Baker?
Bennett. Warren Burke. Augustine Blackwell. Rita Mae Clark. Josette Kubrios. Ben Edwards. Sheila Foster Golding. Rabbi Jacob Goldstein. Rabbi Nachum Gross. Tessa Hackett Vieira.
Here.
Aaron Hirschkopf. Laura Imperiali. Daniel Ingolstadt. Louis Johnson. Demetrius Lawrence. Avi Leches. Michael Liburd. Denise Mann. Carmen Martinez.
Here.
Musa Moore.
Present.
Patricia Moses.
Present.
Beverly Newsom. Frank Nicholas. Dwayne Nicholson. Rosemary Perry. Here. Lunella Roman Perry.
Here.
Diana Richardson.
Present.
Kenya Solis.
Here.
Shanina Sperling. Rabbi Joseph Spielman. Ada Terry.
Here.
Timothy Thomas. Jacqueline Welch. Evelyn Williams.
Three members present. We have a quorum.
Thank you very much.
How many? 33.
33.
We're now going to look at the November 2014 minutes. As I hope everybody's had a chance to read them. Can we get a motion from the floor to approve the minutes? Thank you, Tim. Can I get a second? Who's Avi Letchis did a second. All those in favor, please raise your hands. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, okay, 21. Okay, All those in favor, I'm sorry, say aye. Any nays? Any abstentions? Motion carried. Next is the minutes from the December 2014 meeting. Oh, we didn't get that? Oh, I'm sorry. We tabled that to the next meeting. District Manager's report.
Motion to table.
Oh, I'm sorry. We could do a motion to table? Okay, wait a minute. You making a motion to table? Okay, Avi, you second it? Okay. All those in favor?
Second.
Avi, Warren made it. Avi, second. Any nays? Any abstentions? Motion approved. District Manager's report.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to report that I went to court, the Supreme Court, on February 19th. The attorneys were called, this is in relation to the lawsuit brought by MTOP against Pearl Miles and the community board, and as the district manager and a city employee, I went to court. The attorney, when we got to court, the attorneys were called to speak with the judge. They had a meeting this afternoon at 4 o'clock, and they're having a formal conference with the court attorney on Thursday, this Thursday. I don't have to be there for that. I could go if I want, but they said I didn't have to, so. This afternoon, before we got here, I made a request to my attorney, New York City Law Department, that when she was meeting with the attorneys for MTOP, that the attorney asked Ms. Boyd to be respectful of the community board chair, the audience members, and the community board members. For example, not to talk over others who may be speaking, to request a 3-minute time to speak, and to respect the board chair. I also provided to the attorney, my attorney, which is something that Alicia Boyd claimed in the lawsuit, that Community Board 9 does not have any people from the community on our committees, which is untrue. I provided all the lists of all 11 committees on this board to the attorneys to refute that. I'm at this point trying to complete the rest of the FOIL requests received. I have 5 more FOIL requests that were received. The other ones, I responded to a whole bunch of them, which I shared with the board prior. Also went to Borough Service Cabinet on February 10th, and at that meeting there were 2 agencies that did presentations, so I invited them to come to our board and make a presentation to the board and the community. One is a presentation on open data. It's an online information portal where various city agencies make information available for public use. They will come and they will explain how to access the data, what is available there, and how it's updated, and things like that. And the other request that I made was for a presentation on a new payphone to Wi-Fi initiative that is coming to all the boroughs, all 5 boroughs. This payphone to Wi-Fi initiative is kiosks that will be installed in all the locations where there are currently payphones. Everyone will be able to make free phone calls anywhere in the country from these kiosks. You can also charge your cell phone and do other stuff on this thing. And it's really nice looking, and they're going to come to our community. We haven't decided on a date for them to come and make the presentation, but those 2 items are what they're going to do. They're going to talk about. Also have some announcements. Assemblyman Walter Mosley is doing his 2015 State of the District Address. It's on Thursday at 6:30 p.m. at the Pratt Institute Higgins Hall, and that's at 65 St. James Place in Brooklyn, and on the corner of Lafayette Avenue. If you'd like more information, please call the Assemblyman's office at 718-596-0100. Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams has a Black History Month program. It's called Legacy and Longevity, and it's honoring Black businesses in Brooklyn 20 years plus, 5 to 9 p.m. To RSVP, you can call 718-802-4042. In March, he has a Sandy Resource Fair with the Center for New York City Neighborhoods, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And on the 11th, he has City Speaks, a conversation with the Department of Environmental Protection, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. All of these events are at Brooklyn Borough Hall. Congresswoman Yvette Clarke is presenting free income tax preparation for those who can't afford the services of a professional tax preparer. She's doing this in conjunction with Brooklyn College and the IRS. It's already started, and it will go through April 12th. She's doing this at 2 locations, Flatbush Public Library, and it's walk-in. You don't have to make an appointment. Flatbush Public Library is at 22 Linden Boulevard, and they do this on Fridays from 10:30 to 3:30 p.m., and on Saturdays, 10:30 to 3:30 p.m. also. Also, the Flatbush YMCA, 1401 Flatbush Avenue, that's walk-in also, and they, on Sundays, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And this is for people with income limits of individuals, 30,000 per year, and families, 70,000 per year. You have to bring a picture ID, Social Security card for yourself and spouse and any dependents that you're claiming, for a check if you want direct deposit, and all your income and expense statements, W-2s, 1099s, SSI, mortgage information, student loan information, any other tax documents. If you'd like to get further information, call 718-287-1142. Thank you.
Thank you, Pearl. Committee reports. Warrenberg, would you please come up? Can we dim the lights? Okay.
Hi. This is going to be pretty quick. We've printed out some documents for the board to take a look at. The bylaw committee has met twice, and what we've decided in terms of our process is divide the bylaws into 3 sections. So tonight, everybody has received section 1. The purpose of this is just for you to read it, take your time, take the month, okay, to take a look at it, and then come back next month with any questions. What I just want to show you real quickly, I don't know where the keyboard is. Sorry. We're not stalling. Come on, cut it out. Anyway, how do I do this? Oh. Yeah. Okay. Most of the sections, there are no changes. It's really just boilerplate of all the bylaws. Okay, that's Article 3. All right, Article 4. When you come to Article 5, the proposed changes, and these are suggestions, okay, and they're put down for everybody to think about, and then they get your input. The changes are in italics and a different color, just so you have it. That's all right. Look at your paper. You'll see it. Okay. Ah. All right. So, I know. We agree. Anyway, that's the whole story. So the italics are the proposed changes. The only really unusual thing in this is that, and this is the thing just to think about, is to put term limits for board members. And once again, it's for you to think about and then comment on, and then we could discuss it. So at the next meeting, assuming we have time, we will review this section, talk about any changes, any questions, and number two, we'll introduce the second part of the bylaws. So hopefully in 2 months, we'll have finished it. Thank you.
Thank you, Warren. Thank you, Warren. Mike Soterra's not here tonight, right? We have Parks and Rec Committee. All right. And Amy's not here for the Youth Services Committee. She has 3 nice reports, unfortunately. Dan, Environmental Protection. He's gone. All right. Next, we'll move to the Chairman's report. I'm going to recognize some elected officials here tonight. Kaisi Motley was here for the mayor's office. Kenya Handy was here from the Honorable Scott Stringer's office. Is she still here? No. From Honorable Eric Adams' office, Jamal Pollard. I think he's still here. Thank you, Jamal. From Jesse Hamilton's office, Ruben Lipkin was here. I think he's also gone. Oleniki Lobby is here. Thank you, Ola. From Jeffrey Davis's office, I think he was here too. I think he's now also gone. Daphne Champagne's here from the Kings County Hospital Center. Thank you, Daphne. William Boone is here from Medgar Evers College. I think he's also gone. Judge Michael Gersten is here tonight. Thank you. Is there somebody guest is here tonight? Matthew? Okay. Honorable Lori Cumbo is here. Thank you, Lori. Yeah. Matthew Pitt is here from Lori Cumbo's office. Thank you, Matthew. And Diana, yeah, I called on. Diana Foster, maybe is here tonight. Sorry. Okay, I guess I missed that one. I'm going to make this short because we're behind schedule.
Shirley Patterson is here, Dwayne.
Oh, I'm sorry. Shirley Patterson is here. What? Who's it? Brian McLaurin from the Public Advocate's Office is here. Thank you. I want to have a somber announcement I want to make tonight. Longtime board member Sam Rumelstein passed away a couple of weeks ago. Can we please have a moment of silence? Thank you. All right, I really don't have anything else because we're running out of time, even though I had a statement, but we're 9:35. Okay. We want a motion from the floor? Right. First we have to vote on the expense budget, then we'll vote on the capital budget. Can I get a motion to vote on the expense budget? If you notice in your agenda, the budget is first.
But you didn't mention the draft.
Okay, yeah, one at a time. Expense budget. Okay, can I have a second? Second, Rabbi Goldstein, sorry. Can we call a roll? Oh, right, I'm sorry, any discussion? Okay. Right. We have any other discussion on the motion? Okay. Do we have any other discussion on the motion? If not, we close. Please call the roll.
Patricia Baker, Fred Baptiste. Simone Bennett. Warren Burke. Augustine Blackwell. Rita Mae Clark. Augustine, could you repeat? Augustine Blackwell. could you
Augustine,
repeat?
what was your vote? What was your vote?
What was your vote? Voting on the expense budget.
Right, approval of the comments, with the comments.
Rita Mae Clark. Josette Coco Brioche.
Okay, hold on a second. We're going back over the motion that was made to accept the expense budget with the comments that was stated by Ms. Richardson. Okay, is everybody satisfied? Everybody understands what we're voting on? Thank you. All right, we're gonna send letters. Shall we start over? Let's do the roll call again, please.
Patricia Baker. Fred Baptiste.
Yes.
Simone Bennett. Warren Burke. Augustine Blackwell. Rita Mae Clark. Josette Cuckoo Brioche. Ben Edwards. Sheila Foster Golding. Rabbi Jacob Goldstein.
Yes.
Rabbi Malcolm Grove. Tessa Hackett Vera.
Yes.
Aaron Hirschkopf. Laura Imperiali. Daniel Ingolstadt. Louis Johnson. Demetrius Lawrence. Avi Leches. Michael Liburd. Denise Mann. Carmen Martinez.
Yes.
Musa Moore. Patricia Moses. Beverly Newsom. Frank Nicholas. Dwayne Nicholson.
Yes.
Rosemary Perry. Yes. Unella Roan Perry. Diana Richardson. Kenya Solis.
Abstain.
Janina Sperling. Rabbi Joseph Spielman. Ada Terry. Timothy Thomas. Jacqueline Welsh. Evelyn Williams.
Yay, no no's, 2 abstentions.
Motion passed. Can we get a motion on the capital expense? I'm sorry, the capital budget?
So moved.
Who was that? Michael? Michael made the motion to accept the capital budget with comments, correct? Michael? Right, okay. Anybody second? Laura Imperiali second. Any discussion? With comments, yes, with comments. Any discussion? If not, close, please call the roll.
Patricia Baker. Fred Baptiste. Simone Bennett. Warren Burke. Augustine Blackwell. Rita Mae Clark. Josette Cuckoo Brioche. Ben Edwards. Sheila Foster Golding. Rabbi Jacob Goldstein. Rabbi Malcolm Gross. Tessa Hackett Vera. Aaron Hirschkopf. Laura Imperiali. Daniel Ingolstadt. Louis Johnson. Demetrius Lawrence. Avi Leches. Michael Liburd. Denise Mann. Carmen Martinez. Musa Moore. Patricia Moses. Beverly Newsom. Frank Nicholas. Dwayne Nicholson.
Yes.
Rosemary Perry, yes. Unella Roan Perry. Diana Richardson. Kenya Solas.
Abstain.
Janina Sperlin. Rabbi Joseph Spielman. Ada Terry. Timothy Thomas. Jacqueline Welch. Evelyn Williams. Louis Johnson.
Mr. Johnson, you with your vote? Yes. Thank you.
Yes, no no's, one abstention.
Motion accepted. While this time, I'd like to also recognize the Honorable Janine Edwards, who's here tonight. Thank you for coming. Okay, we need a motion on the draft resolution.
I move to table discussion on the resolution pending a recommendation by the ULURP committee.
I second that. I second that.
What's the motion?
You have any discussion?
Oh, hold on, for the public. The motion was to table discussion on the draft pending a resolution, pending a recommendation from the ULURP committee.
I second.
Okay, floor is open for discussion.
I do. I would like to state, I believe the ULURP committee should come up with a draft. That's just me. And that would remove a lot of the cross banter and talk. Let the ULURP committee, okay, excuse me, right. I'm making an amendment to the motion that the ULURP committee should be the ones that pull together the draft and then bring it back to the board.
We agree.
Who made the motion? You did?
I did.
Fred, will you accept my amendment?
I accept.
But who's going to be on the EULA committee? Good question.
Okay?
I second that amendment.
Okay? That's
Yeah, we
second.
have a discussion?
Yeah, I just want to say, having created documents like this over the years, it's really difficult to write something as a group.
Yeah, right.
The reason that it ended up the way it was, with many of the committee members providing input, was you need one central person to put this stuff into an order.
That's why you need
Let me finish.
Let the man finish, please.
Let me finish.
Let you finish.
Like you. Community members.
Yes, we know that you have created the last one and this one and the one before. Thank you, Tim.
That's right.
Okay, this is Tim Thomas. What I'd like to say is it is incredibly difficult to craft a draft as a group. You start with one word, then the next word, then the next word. You'll be there all night. What we really want, what I really want, is for this committee to go section by section with an idea, yes, we like it, or no, we don't, and we'd like to amend it, or no, we don't, and we want to scrap it. So the language of the draft has already started. Let's use that as a starting point. And then, as we move, the committee will vote. Otherwise, it'll take all night. I want to know how my fellow committee members feel about the language in the draft. Thank you. So I'm against the friendly amendment.
Excuse me. I'd like to make an amendment to the motion on the floor that the draft before the board tonight be completely and totally rescinded, and the ULURP committee go back to the drawing board and prepare a document worthy of bringing before the board.
Should I don't know if I
Can
can
I get a
second
second?
that, but my name is Laura Imperiali. I second that. I would like all the comments that were taken at the two public meetings, and I would like the members of the ULURP committee to sit with those comments that were drafted. I don't want to see a summary. I want to see all the notes before the ULURP committee, and from there, we can craft something. And from there, what do you mean together? As a committee, excuse me, as a committee, okay? Why don't, well, your voices were recognized in those 2 public hearings. And, okay. So in any event, I would like to see those original notes taken from the 2 public meetings presented to the ULURP committee. The ULURP committee will meet and we will discuss this. And committee work is a pain in the neck. I appreciate that, but it gets done. That's how they wrote the Constitution. That's how they wrote all.
Can we
So
vote
in
on the
any
amendment?
Just going right back over and over. Okay, right now we have like 4 motions on the floor.
Why is everyone yelling?
This is totally confusing, and we've got too many motions on the floor all at one time.
And that's the point of order. We have to dispose of my motion that's on the floor. It either goes up or it goes down. And after that, if you want to make whatever other motions, that's fine.
Okay, can you please?
I'm not finding.
I could make a friendly amendment.
Well, and I understand, and with all due respect, and this is not to be negative, I'm saying is that I'm not finding that friendly because I think we can dispose of this. I think the whole idea of, and I'll speak on my motion at this point. The idea of this is to make sure that this goes back to committee, that we're not doing committee work in front of the board over here with 700 people. That's exactly why we have committees. And while I respect the idea that we want to start from scratch, we don't necessarily need to start from scratch, but we need to have that conversation in the committee, which is the reason why I believe it should go back there, it should be discussed there, it should be vetted, debated, and everything, and the committee should be able to come, and the committee should, not be able to, but the committee should come back with a recommendation. That is our responsibility as members of the ULURP committee to do that legwork, to do the homework, to ask the hard questions. So that way, by the time we come back with a document, we can come back with our rationale, why we said, the things we considered, the things we rejected, but this is what we feel as a ULURP committee that should actually go forward. Once again, I don't want to necessarily get into how the committee does its work. I think the committee can do its work once it's given the task and actually get a lot of chance to run with it. Negative. So, unless there's actual debate on mine, I think the next move would be to call the question and actually vote. Either it goes up or it goes down. If it's down, then whatever comes next.
Okay, so Fred, can you repeat your motion?
Yeah.
The only question I have is, this is new to me, so is there a time frame that's put in the motion, or it's just, can this go on for 6 months? Can this go on for 5 months, or, so should that be put in the motion? What's your limitation? How does that work? I'm not sure.
And I'm leery about putting time limits on this as well. Listen, everyone in this room is tired of this. I don't think anybody's trying to drag this any longer than this needs to get dragged out. What I'm saying is there's been a lot of conversation, and not to discount, there has been a lot of good work that's been put into this. But at this point, I think it's up to the committees to start weighing all those options in the setting that it's supposed to be weighed in. So at this point, I think it's a matter of, unless there's other questions regarding this motion, we need to just move forward. For all those who want to move forward, this is the way we move forward. Let the committee do its work.
Excuse me. I just would like to bring to the attention, we're going to put this thing before a committee. The committee has many different members and different opinions. The way we go in a democratic way is that the majority rules. If, for whatever reason, I don't know how the outcome is going to be, there are people that are disappointed with the vote, so be it, accept it, and that's the end of it.
Thank you, Rabbi Spielman. Okay, Fred, please make your motion.
Yeah, you had an amendment to
Can we
his.
make the motion? It's already 10 to 10. Please make the motion. Let's go. I know, same here. We've got too many motions out there. What? What are we voting on? We got 4 motions on the floor right now.
We're voting on.
Fred, please make your motion.
Okay, listen. One last time. The motion is for this to be referred back to the ULURP committee, to be tabled, to go back, to be tabled pending a formal recommendation by the ULURP committee. That's it.
Okay, table back to ULURP and
To disable discussion on the draft pending a recommendation from the ULURP committee. And that was seconded by Demetrius Lawrence.
All right, does everybody understand what we're voting on? Fred, say it again, please.
To table discussion on the draft pending a recommendation from the ULURP committee.
Okay.
In other words, the ULURP committee needs to make a recommendation What I'm saying is, listen, it leaves it absolutely clear to the discretion of the ULURP committee where we are going to go with this. If it's a matter of the ULURP has a draft that they're going to put out, we can scrap whatever there is, we can go to a brand new one, we can do whatever else, but it leaves it in the hands of the ULURP committee to do what's right. So that's the whole point. The ULURP committee will set the time when we're ready to have an actual recommendation that's been discussed.
Okay. So, can I get a second on that? I think, Warren, you said you second? Okay. If we have any other discussion, we're going to call the roll. Okay. Call the roll, please. Huh? We can all in favor? Okay. All in favor, please say aye. Any nays? Any abstentions? Motion passed. Do we have any other new business? We gotta hurry up. It's 5 to 10. Of course not. We're just gonna kill another 2.5 years. What the heck?
I'd like to address my fellow board members on something that is very important and that is also very troubling. I would like to read an email with a backup email. The email was from Pearl Miles to myself, the old executive committee, and to the members of the new board. And it goes as follows. The date of it is November 26th. Good morning, Jake, members of the former executive committee and members of the current executive committee. It is critically imperative I bring this matter to your attention. It is in regard to Community Board 9's records from the March 25th, 2014 community meeting. Specifically, the attendance sheet, sign-in sheet, the voting records, the resolution, the written testimony that was submitted by at least 2 members of the community at the meeting. As you recall, we were frantic when we could not find the records from the meeting. We kept searching for them, contacted the school, the custodian, and his workers. Everything, the box, its contents had disappeared. I also notified the board members of this had happened. I asked them to send me an email letting me know whether or not, Tim, let me read this, thank you. To not, the vote was as prepared, we had an accurate as it could be attendance record. Even on the minutes, it was stated board members should call the office if the attendance was not correct. I said at the April Community Board meeting, I also asked you to make a police report. Shh. Every month since then, I have said it over and over to the board members of the executive committee that the records were lost and we did not have them because the box with the board stuff was nowhere to be found. Over and over, I said this to the executive committee, including Chairperson Dwayne Nicholson. Last night, November 24, 2014, there was an emergency meeting of the executive committee that I requested to be held to discuss the incorrect recording of the votes of the September 23, 2014 board meeting. And just for the record, I stated that this meeting, I was responsible for recording the vote. I had the mistake, and therefore I will get up December 9th, community board meeting and take responsibility for the mistake. Anyway, in the course of the meeting, I said that I had given Alicia Boyd a copy of the roll call voting sheets for the votes to be taken at the September 23rd meeting, where the motion to rescind the resolution was taken. I said that I had responded to all Alicia Boyd's requests under the FOIL, and the only thing I owed her was the information from the March 25th meeting that was lost. I said that I was not getting time to go to Walmart to buy a tape recorder so I could listen to the tape to get the vote from the meeting on the resolution. Well, it was there and then a bombshell was dropped on a table. A bombshell was dropped on a table. I could not believe it. Chairman Dwayne Nicholson said that Jesse Hamilton had taken the box with the contents in it. Dwayne said that Jesse spoke to him, box in hand, and said, "Look, they forgot the box on the stage." Dwayne said Jesse took the box to his office. I was flabbergasted. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It was incredible. I asked Dwayne, "Why did you not take the box from him? It contained board records." He did not answer that question. I also said we made a police report that the box was missing. I had been speaking about this since it happened to the very people on the table. Nobody said anything. Not only that, a board member, the new chairperson, knew all along who had taken it. Even when I sent the email to all the board members to verify their attendance, we lost the box. Dwayne could not say anything. Instead, all he said to tell me to mark him present. When I think back to all the drama and turmoil that happened against you, by the same board members, I can only think that this was a deliberate action to damage you and I. What a dreadful week. Last night, Demetrius said he would go to Jesse Hamilton's office today to retrieve the box and its contents and await the outcome of that visit. I then further wrote an email on top of this email dated January 26th, which repeated what the district manager had written. And at the end, I wrote the following. All you know that this board has been in turmoil as a result of unrelenting attacks and harassment from Alicia Boyd. The district manager has been here bearing the brunt of it, received endless FOIL requests, being sued, being reported to IG, etc. I am therefore informing the current board members, as well as those who are on the board mentioned 24th of this caper, I am calling for all those board members and government officials who are directly and indirectly involved in this dishonesty and underhanded scandal to resign immediately, as you are no longer have any credibility based upon what you have done. All of you have knowledge of this, and you know who you are, and I signed my name. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the board, this needs not only a discussion, but needs action. I bring this to your attention because we have a very serious issue of credibility at hand. Thank you.
Thank you, Jake. Anybody want to discuss this foolishness? The best part about this whole thing is, Jake, it's great. You emptied the room for us. Thank you.
I just want to say, where is the box? Anybody know? Anybody know where that box is? No?
No.
Okay, so the box has completely disappeared?
Yeah.
Just to be clear? All right.
Thank you, Tim. Anybody else want to comment? No, I mean, are we going to have discussion over this silliness? Why not? I mean, he brought it up, so let's bring it up. Let's have discussion over the silliness now. Anybody care to comment? Oh, you think maybe Pat might have taken it? Whoops. Well, I guess we're adjourned then.
I'd like to address one last question on the silliness of what I raised, which was a statement. When government officials are involved when they had no right to take government records at that time, that is not foolishness. That's very serious business, worthy of an investigation. Thank you.
supposed to know? I never had the box. It was up to them to get the box. I don't know what happened to the box. Yeah. We're done. Nobody's here anyway.
Mr. Brooks, somebody is